What's up, and welcome to the DualSense podcast for episode 153. I am one of your co-hosts, Jason, and I'm joined, of course, as always, by your other co-host who is calling himself today simply A, the letter A. He must have
Mhm.
not been feeling inspired this evening. He, of course, goes by his real name, which is Travis. Travis, what's going on tonight? How are you?
A is in oregano.
Oh, I have news for you.
What's that?
Who wants to
uh,
tell him what was for dinner
uh,
tonight?
we went to the burger bar in Radcliffe.
How was that?
So it's a bar with the burgers,
Mm,
and they had a DJ setting up with his tables. His
mm.
turntables, the
The
ones and
ones and
twos.
twos. Yes, of course.
We left before the ones and twos started doing the threes and fours, so I don't know if he's any good or not. But his DJ name was
Uh-huh.
DJ Lifesaver, saving the party was the
Oh,
tag.
that's
Really
that's
good.
actually that's kind of creative. Actually, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the big question is, would you go back to the burger bar, the bar of burgers?
The burger wasn't bad. The food wasn't bad. It was just super loud. Like the music was
Yeah,
overbearing. But
it was truly a bar.
yeah, that's what you'd expect at a bar. I mean,
Yeah.
sure, but not like
hmm
once a year, once or twice a year. It's fine. You know what I mean? It's just got to be in the mood for it.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting old. We can't even handle loud music at the restaurant anymore.
I know. I don't want to shout at people.
Yeah, true. I don't want to shout either. I get that. Well, I mowed the lawn this evening and checked the garden. Got the first strawberry on the vine in the garden. Pretty exciting stuff. And
Mm.
I've got to Google to figure out when is the proper time to pick strawberries.
I think
That I
when
don't
they
know.
turn red.
Well, this one's very red, but the seeds, seem very protruding.
Maybe you
Like
need small seeds.
yeah, yeah. So I got to do some research and see when they're ready. Like it's red, but it's like fire engine red. It's not like that strawberry red, like that rich red. You know what I'm saying? So,
Do you think maybe it gets sweeter or more tart depending
you
on the
know,
color?
they do say the blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice.
Mm. Do you know peas stored in the balls?
Oh. Really? No,
Yeah.
hadn't heard that one.
Okay.
That one.
Your strawberries made me think of that.
Yeah, yeah. I also wanted to say that I forgot we forgot to talk about this last week. I forgot to report to you. It's my duty as co-host to report to you that I did purchase an Xbox Series S. I meant to talk about this last week.
Hmm.
I made sure to buy it. Don't fret though. Don't fret. Shh. I did buy it. I bought it refurbished, $200, because I didn't want my money to actually go to Phil Spencer and Microsoft. No, I'm kidding, of course. I don't give a fuck, but I did buy it refurbished. I knew this was going to happen, but I cannot miss Starfield. I'm sorry. I can't miss. I love Skyrim. You know this. I love Fallout. And you know that. I'm not going to miss Starfield. So it is what it is. It is
I
what it
know.
is. But
You're like a druggie when they come out with a new version. So it's cocaine, then you had to try crack, then you had to try heroin. It's whatever's next. Meth? I don't
yeah,
know. Who
yeah.
knows?
I'm waiting for what the fuck did they call the blue shit in Breaking Bad? What was it called? What was the name of it? Remember, it had a catchy name. You remember
Meth?
Blue? Yeah, but it was it was Blue something. Remember it? They would on the street. It had a street name like Blue Magic or some shit.
Avatar? I don't know.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so yeah, we're an Xbox podcast now. Sorry to say, but no, I'm kidding. Of course, we'll always PlayStation ride or die. Don't worry about that. Anyway, Travis, speaking of PlayStation, you and I are a weekly podcast where we get together and discuss all of the week's news, rumors, new game releases, and much more in the world of PlayStation. We do it all in under 90 minutes, which is our shtick, of course. We post new episodes every Monday on all of the usual podcast services around the world, in addition to YouTube, where we share gameplay videos as well, if that is something that you're interested in. So check us out there. But we're also on social media. You can find us on the Twitter. We go by at the DualSense Pod. We're also on Instagram and Facebook, if that's your thing. Our website is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. You can get the shows there every week, show notes, our bios, our photos, all that great stuff. So please find us, listen to us, hit us up, chat PlayStation with us. Travis, without any further ado, let's jump into the news here, starting with number one. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission began its court hearing this week regarding the injunction that they filed to block the Microsoft-Activision merger. And on day one of the hearings, we discovered a lot of interesting insight from both Sony and Microsoft. For starters, Microsoft opened their remarks by declaring they have, quote unquote, lost the console wars, adding that they only had a 16% share of the gaming console market in 2021, which is quite an odd admission for a company like Microsoft, which has a mere $2 trillion market cap globally. They also revealed that Activision CEO Bobby Kotick demanded that Xbox give the Call of Duty maker a larger split of revenue share, or that they would not bring the annualized shooter and linchpin to the entire merger agreement to Xbox consoles at all. We also learned that should Activision be acquired by Microsoft, that PlayStation will withhold details about the PlayStation 6 from the Call of Duty publisher, according to a deposition from Sony Interactive Entertainment president Jim Ryan, who said, quote, "We simply could not run the risk of a company that was owned by a direct competitor having access to that information," end quote. For what it's worth, heavily redacted documents from the FTC show that the regulator is concerned that Microsoft making ZeniMax, also known as Bethesda, games exclusive following that acquisition in 2021 is proof in the pudding that Microsoft will likely do the same with Activision if the deal closes, writing, quote, "Microsoft's actions following its 2021 acquisition of ZeniMax speak louder than the defendants' words. Defendants put great stock in Microsoft's concerns about, quote unquote, infuriating gamers if it were to foreclose rivals' access to Activision content, but those same concerns did not stop the ZeniMax decision," end quote. To that end, Day one proceedings also revealed that Bethesda's Indiana Jones game was originally also coming to PS5, but the contract with Disney was amended following Microsoft's buyout of the publisher to remove the PlayStation version altogether. Elsewhere, one obscure line of questioning revealed that Microsoft believes PlayStation's Project Q remote play handheld will be under $300. And finally, the court hearing revealed that in an email to the Sony CEO at the time, PlayStation boss Jim Ryan expressed that he isn't really all that concerned about the Microsoft Activision deal, writing in the message, quote, "It is not an exclusivity play at all. They're thinking bigger," meaning Xbox, than that. "They have the cash to make these moves. I've spent a fair amount of time of Phil and Bobby," and there's some type of Jim either had a typo there or something because that doesn't make sense. But he said, "I've spent a fair amount of time of Phil and Bobby, and I'm pretty sure we'll continue to see Call of Duty on PlayStation for years to come. Ellipsis. We have some good stuff cooking. I'm not complacent. I'd rather that this didn't happen, but we'll be okay. We'll be more than okay." End quote. Okay, so a lot of different threads there. Is there any one in particular that you'd like to pull at?
Yeah, I mean, I know I sent you guys a link about this, and
Mhm.
I'm sure I know you have an opinion, a very strong opinion about the first part, but
Yeah.
my immediate reaction was you lost the console war that you tried to say wasn't happening for so long, but you also have a $2 trillion market cap. Like, they have so much money. And I understand you could say they sold less consoles, they sold less this, they sold less that. They have so much money that if they wanted to win the console war, so to speak, they could go out and buy companies like Bethesda or Activision, right?
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, but that was a little bit annoying. Love the play by Bobby Kotick. That's like, give us more money or we're not bringing it. Like, that's what he should do as a CEO. I have no issues with that. And to the next point, and I didn't read any comments about this because I figured it would make me mad, but you know, Jim Ryan saying like, "Hey, we're not going to give you any details on the PlayStation 6 because our direct console competitor owns it."
Mm.
I don't have any issue with that. I think that if PlayStation was buying Activision, that Microsoft should do the same for whatever they're going to call, Microsoft 2 or
Hmm.
whatever they're going to call it. So I don't have any issue with the 6 not being shared with them if this was to go through, which I'm sure some people on the internet probably hated or wanted to call that something,
Hmm.
call that out, so to speak. But look, at the end of the day, I think PlayStation should be concerned. I know, Jim's telling the CEO he's not because they have other stuff coming, but losing a linchpin like Call of Duty is going to affect your sales. It may not be a console seller, so to speak, because it's on a lot of things. Like,
Hmm.
you could make the argument that The Last of Us is a console seller or Starfield is a console seller,
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
games with crossover like this, yeah, it may not affect your direct console, but having it on both is a good thing. If you can only play Call of Duty on Xbox, there's going to be people that just get an Xbox.
Oh sure, no doubt.
So at that point, you're starting to pull exclusivity hairs. Like, are PlayStation going to suddenly not let anything they make, have anything that they touch,
Mm,
anything that falls under the umbrella go over to Microsoft? That's what you kind of turn into. So
hmm
I think you have to be a little bit concerned. I think his comments there are a little not misleading, but maybe a little bit like he's trying to convince himself. So that's kind of surprising for me to hear him say that in any form. If it's a private conversation he never thought would go public, then that's very weird to me. If he thought somebody would see it,
hmm
then yeah, I could see you saying something like that just to kind of like be political. But I still think PlayStation should be a little bit worried, if this deal does go through, because like they said, Microsoft showed with Bethesda that they will make things exclusive. So you
hmm
have to think it will happen. And if PlayStation didn't or Sony didn't feel like if they weren't worried, then why would they be filing an injunction? So I
Right.
hear Jim, but like, come on.
Yeah. If they weren't, to your point, if they were not worried about, at the very least, potentially losing all of the Call of Duty revenue, I don't think they'd be making a stink about it. If they thought from the very beginning that they truly would keep Call of Duty and nothing would change, like they knew that 100%, in other words, then they wouldn't. I don't think that they would be doing exactly what they've been doing this whole
I
time.
agree.
And you and I know that, Jim was obviously talking to his boss in that email. And sometimes you're going to tell your boss, like, everything's fine. We're good. We're not,
Yeah.
there's nothing to be worried about. You know what I'm
Tell them what
saying?
they want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, I've got it under control, nothing to worry about. He even says, I'm not being complacent. So I would love to see what the other email from whoever the CEO at the time was, which I'm assuming was it Kenichiro Yoshida? It might have been someone else, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So there's that. But it also is interesting that maybe Jim really does believe that. Maybe he's really not worried. Maybe this is just all smoke and mirrors, gamesmanship. And you also have to understand too that Sony is a publicly traded company, so Jim does have some fiduciary obligation to fight this if he thinks that it's going to hurt the bottom line of the company. And, he's doing that by whatever means necessary or whatever means that he feels is relevant or pertinent. So I understand that as well. And Phil Spencer is doing the same thing in their defense. One of the other interesting things that I find of what we have learned so far is the FTC making the comment about ZeniMax from when Microsoft acquired Bethesda, because of course in 2021 the comments were, well, we don't have plans to make Bethesda games exclusive, et cetera, or it's a case by case basis or whatever. But then we hear this evidence that the Indiana Jones game was going to come to PS5, and then after that deal went through, they went back to Disney, who owns the rights to Indiana Jones, and said, "Hey, we don't want this to come to PlayStation anymore." So they probably paid Disney more money for it not to go to PlayStation. So that right there shows you that they will change the platforms for a game, the nature of exclusivity for a game, if
Right.
it benefits them. Now, on the other hand, would PlayStation do that as well? I think absolutely they would. They would go to Disney and say, "Hey, we don't want this going to Xbox." Like, I think they would definitely do that. But the point is that Xbox has said one thing in the past and done another already. So I think that is a valid argument. That is a valid line of questioning to say, you guys did this 2 years ago. What's to say you're not going to do that again now? You're going to say, oh, we would never take Call of Duty off PlayStation. We want more gamers to have more games to be able to play wherever they want to, yada, yada, yada. What's to say 2 years from now that all of a sudden Call of Duty's not coming to PlayStation, or it's not the same version, or, there's not parity, so to speak. And I want to reiterate that, I've said on the show that whatever agreement, assuming they come to agreement at this point, after how nasty this has gotten, whatever agreement that they come to, meaning Xbox and PlayStation over Call of Duty, whether that's 5 years, 10 years, whatever that is. You can write it down, take it to the fucking bank that the very next day that agreement ends, Call of Duty will no longer come to PlayStation. That's a fact. It's a fact. And one thing that came out again to that point, one thing that came out after the fact that I didn't get to include in the write up is that later in the day today, during testimony, Microsoft revealed that Starfield was actually going to be coming to PS5. And in fact, which, like I said, PlayStation would do the same thing. PlayStation was negotiating with Bethesda about having Starfield be a PS5 exclusive. And we had heard that before a little bit. And then Phil Spencer said that when they found that out, they just went and bought Bethesda. And he said that was the main. He literally said that was the main reason that they went and bought Bethesda, because they had found out that PlayStation was going to make Starfield a PS5 exclusive. So again, both sides will do it, no question. But the facts right now are that Microsoft has changed the nature of exclusivity for games, which I think is one of the big issues at hand. And I think that they will continue to do so. Now, whether that means anything at the end of the day, I don't know. But interesting tidbits nonetheless. Oh, and one other thing about the Project Hue. They said that they thought it will be under $200 or $300, I should say. I think that's a $250 remote play handheld. I just think $250 is it. And if it better fucking be under $300 is all I gotta say. It can't be $300 because Switch is $300, and it can't be $200 because the DualSense Edge is $200. So I think $250 is the. I mean, you know what I'm saying. So I think $250 is like the natural price point. So we'll see. Number 2, publisher Electronic Arts announced this week that it is restructuring its company in a major way, creating 2 separate operating divisions: EA Entertainment and EA Sports. The former will include all of the company's internal IP and licensed game projects, such as Star Wars, and will be led by Laura Miele, who has been named president of EA Entertainment. Titanfall creator Vince Zampella will oversee the studios responsible for Apex Legends, Star Wars, and Battlefield games. Samantha Ryan will oversee EA Entertainment's lifestyle and blockbuster single-player games like The Sims and the upcoming Immortals of Avium. The other division, EA Sports, which is nothing new, it's just changing the way it operates, will continue to be led by Cam Weber, who is now the president of EA Sports. Both divisions and their presidents will report directly to EA CEO Andrew Wilson, who said in a press release, quote, "This evolution of our company continues to empower our studio leaders with more creative ownership and financial accountability to make faster and more insightful decisions around development and go-to-market strategies. These steps will accelerate our business, drive growth, and deliver long-term value for our people, our players, and our communities," end quote. EA also announced back in March, if you'll recall, that it would be cutting 6% of its workforce as a part of this restructuring plan. So what do you think about 2 divisions of EA, what they're doing here?
I think it makes a lot of sense. I think they probably should have done this a while ago. I mean, they're different. They're basically different departments in a sense, all right? Because EA Sports it's just sports games. Like they're not worried about Battlefield or Apex or whatever else, and then those people aren't worried about the game formerly known as FIFA. So
Right.
it makes sense to me to have them split apart. Then you can basically create a direct line to you can really streamline your communication processes, because I'm sure even though they had groups on both sides working on specific things, there's people probably higher up that was in contact with both teams that probably didn't need to be, that probably if they were more focused in on one side or the other, they could have been more effective. So it makes sense to me to cut it down and then, kind of streamline the whole processes, which is what we've been hearing for the last couple of weeks at all these other companies.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's interesting, but I think it's warranted completely.
Yeah, the thing that I'm wondering about this is, I mean, they're obviously doing it for some type of efficiencies and economies of scale and stuff like that, and just how lines of communication, et cetera. But the one thing that I'm curious about this, and of course this is a little tinfoil hat theory of mine, I guess, is I wonder if this sets them up to be able to sell off one of these divisions if they want to.
I think
In
it
other
does.
words, Yeah, in other words, if Microsoft wants to buy EA Sports, then they can do that, but they don't have to buy the whole company, meaning they're going to have Call of Duty, so they can't and don't need to buy Battlefield, for instance, right? Or or Apex Legends, but they might want Madden, they might want FIFA or whatever, EA Sports FC and all that, like you said, very
Mhm.
possible. So I don't know that EA would do that because that would obviously significantly neuter the company. But if shit starts going south, for instance, then I think this gives them that sort of flexibility. It's just an interesting potentiality, if nothing else. So
Yeah, you compartmentalize it, and it makes it a lot easier to break
right,
apart.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So otherwise, I think it makes sense. Like you said, I think you hit the nail on the head. So we'll see what comes of this. Number three, the industry's most prominent insider and leaker, Tom Henderson, relayed word this week of new details on Bungie's recently announced extraction shooter, Marathon. For starters, Henderson claims sources tell him Bungie wants Marathon to be the quote unquote ultimate live service game, but he also shared a lot of details regarding the title's core gameplay loop. The game pits teams of 3 players against each other, although it is understood that duos and singles are a thing as well. But you'll still face full teams of 3, and there will not be separate playlists, which is similar to Crytek's extraction style shooter Hunt Showdown. Oxygen plays a pivotal role in matches, acting as the quote unquote ring of death that is seen in battle royale games. When a player runs out of oxygen, they begin to die, with more oxygen able to be looted from the map. The gameplay loop will go something like this, according to Henderson. You'll choose your missions, buy or choose your loadout, perks, abilities, gear, etc. You'll drop into a server, hunt for loot and complete your missions, and or explore for secrets. You'll then extract from the server, spend your XP on upgrades, and rinse and repeat. Permadeath is also a feature of the game, but it's understood that you'll only lose your loot and occasionally your implants, whatever those are.
Mm.
Marathon currently has no release window, although my current gut feeling says late 2024 at the earliest, based on the fact that they said they're heading into alpha, and it will come to PS5 when it does finally release, in addition to Xbox Series consoles and PC, of course. So, some gameplay details. Does this intrigue you more or less? What do you think?
Yeah, more than before. We'll be on duos because none of our fucking friends get on anymore, but that's fine.
Yes.
But uh, the only thing about this whole thing that worries me is when they say the ultimate live service game, because it's like,
Hmm.
I don't know. It's funny. We talked last week about PlayStation giving people like, we expect 90s, we want 90s, and I have no problem with that expectation because it just seems so direct. But to come to you and say the ultimate live service game, like, we don't even know what that means. Like, the person
Hmm.
saying that doesn't even know what it means. Like,
Yeah.
you want to make a bunch of money, like Genshin Impact. That's in a sense what you're saying, and that's not fucking realistic for what this
Right.
is.
Also, your ultimate live service and mine look a lot different. Like for me, my
Right.
ultimate live service would be like Fallout 76, but actually like good and actually like and actually like this gen. You know what I'm saying?
That's fair. Yeah, and like, yeah, that's a great point too. It's so you can't give people vague expectations
Mm,
like that, which to me that feels like a corporate thing when they think they're being very direct. It's like you're not, you know what I mean?
mm,
Somebody gives you advice, they tell you always have new shoes. The fuck does that mean? Like, it can mean anything. So anyway,
right.
I like the gameplay loop does sound interesting. The permadeath sounds really cool. Don't know what implants are, but I'm sure after this alpha phase goes through, we'll start hearing some leaks about what implants actually are.
Yeah.
My thinking was something similar to like didn't on Returnal, didn't you get kind of like you get abilities that would stick with you after each life?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, there is
Yeah,
something like that. That's what it sounds like to me too. It's
yeah,
something along those lines, like
which would
permanent
be kind of cool.
upgrades. Hmm.
Yeah, and like the permanent upgrades would stay with you unless, something happens. So I do like that. Like, you kind of, you start all over, but you keep a little bit. Like, that seems completely fair.
Sure.
But it sounds cool. And like I like that they're going into alpha, and like, it's kind of one of those things. I don't really want to hear about all these details and shit until they're into the alpha phase, because before that, like, I mean, whatever. At least at alpha they have a build they can use. So now we get to see how this thing works. And as much as Hunt Showdown was nice, but I hope it's better than that. I hope it plays a little bit better because Hunt Showdown felt just a little wonky to me in some ways. So I hope it's if you want it to be ultimate live service, you can't have any wonkiness.
Yeah, this news makes me more interested in this game. I think it's an interesting choice to go the Hunt Showdown route. In terms of not having playlists, I think that's going to be a big complaint from people. I say that, but people seem to enjoy Hunt Showdown, although I don't know how big its player base is still today. But I think what Hunt Showdown does anyway is if you play solo, you get an XP boost. Or, if you play with the less than a full team, you get a certain XP boost. So that is neat, but I mean, you know how these games go. Like if you play by yourself and you play against full teams, you don't stand a fucking chance typically. So it'll be interesting to see how they can balance that, if at all, because in theory, if me and you are playing together and we go up against one person, we should have the upper hand. I don't know. I mean, unless we just suck, of course, which it's typically. I mean, we don't suck at shooters, but we suck at stuff like this somewhat. But
Yeah,
that
because
still hasn't.
people are like at fucking DEFCON 5 when as soon as the game comes out. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they played for 100 hours and the game's been out for 24 somehow. But I think it sounds cool. Everything sounds cool, and I still go back to the fact that it's Bungie, and I love their combat. I love their gunplay. Like I think about the Crucible from Destiny, like one of my
Right.
favorite parts of the game. So I think that the pedigree speaks for itself. I love the art style of the game. Love the way it looks. I have very high hopes for this. And again, as far as the Ultimate Live Service thing, I think that's subjective. That means different things to different people. For them, of course, it means to keep the highest player count possible around for years and years. That's what they mean by that, I think. But the live service portion is different for everyone. But I'm liking what I'm hearing so far. We'll see how it goes once we can see some actual gameplay. Number 4, we have a bunch of news nuggets as well. First nugget: publisher Perfect World Games announced that free-to-play gacha style open world RPG Tower of Fantasy, which was revealed at the recent PlayStation showcase, will come to PS4 and PS5 on August 8th. And it looks neat. It looks just like Genshin Impact, and from an art style standpoint, it's interesting. But I just don't know about those type of games where you pay for resources and roll for loot boxes or whatever. I don't know about that. So also, the Callisto Protocol will get another DLC called The Final Transmission on June 28th.
Is that the end?
That's the last one. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah, it better be after they call it that. Also, website Video Games Chronicle reported that first-person magic shooter Immortals of Avium has been delayed 1 month and will now launch on August 22nd for PS5. Square Enix staff has reportedly been asking upper management to do a remake for Final Fantasy VI. It'll just never end. Just never end.
But cool staff anyway. Like
Yeah.
that's what staff asks for shit all the time that's not realistic. I
Right. Yeah. They'll probably do it though, because
Yeah, I
it's
know,
it's
but
cash cow. But
why not, right?
yeah. Yeah. They also asked for donuts in the break room every day.
Yeah, and they didn't get that either.
A new PS5 bundle leaked this week, and it will allegedly include 24 months of PlayStation Plus Premium. So that's interesting. I wonder how much that'll cost. I mean, surely there's like a slight price break on that, I would assume. So I don't know, that maybe $700 or something like that. We'll see. Sony has lost its PlayStation Mobile division boss just 2 years after the division was created. Nicola Sebastiani, who Sony poached from Apple Arcade, has departed the company. Chris Davies and Olivier Courtemanche have been appointed as co-heads of mobile at PlayStation Studios in what appears to be a move to fill the void.
Two generals don't work, so pick one.
Yep, that's true. Also, Hideo Kojima revealed this week that he will be heavily involved in the production of the Death Stranding movie, although he did confirm that he will not be directing. A Quake 2 remaster has been rated in South Korea, which means that a release of the classic first-person shooter is imminent, presumably for PlayStation consoles. The developers of Sonic Mania announced 3D platformer Penny's Big Breakaway, and it's coming to consoles in 2024. Guerrilla Games has added a Lance Reddick memorial in Horizon Forbidden West. The prominent actor played the role of Silence in the Horizon series for both iterations of the game, as well
You know who
as
that
DLC.
is, right?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It's
They,
the concierge.
yeah, poor guy. That's how he
Yeah.
literally died. He got shot. Like that scene, he actually dies in the last John Wick. He actually got shot and dies. It's on film.
Oh, true. Yeah,
Yeah,
true. They
that's
got it
how it
right
went.
there. Yeah, that is just like that. And then they had to call the ambulance. Next, I get Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 will release October 24th on PS5. Konami announced this week. Elsewhere, the contents of Volume 2 were apparently leaked by Konami themselves in the announcement, and they will include Metal Gear Solid 4, Metal Gear Solid 5, and Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, and those have been corroborated by IGN. So that's your Volume 2, and that's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. E3 2024 and 2025 have been canceled, according to the Los Angeles City Tourism Board, which noted in their recent meeting packet that the two conventions had been canceled by event organizer Reed Pop, who denied the news, saying that no decisions have been made. But that's fake news because they 100% have canceled it. The Los
Right.
Angeles City Tourism Board would know, and that would
Yeah.
not be a mistake.
First of all, Repop's a stupid name, but also,
It
yeah, they're
is.
definitely canceled because they get to get that shit out so they
Yeah,
can book the facility.
hundred
they're
percent.
fucking canceled.
Yes, 100%. Because if it's not, yeah, like you said, they'll book a fucking concert or whatever the fuck, something
It's
else.
L.A.
Yeah, it's
Like the
exactly.
like I don't know, man. Like the Winnetonka Convention Center could wait a couple of weeks to make sure. L.A. can't do that.
Right. Also, Activision announced that they will be shutting down the original Call of Duty Warzone on September the 21st, just the client or the app, if you will, because it will live on as the renamed Call of Duty Warzone Caldera. Website Push Square reported that a new update to Fallout 76 has secretly made the game run at 60 frames per second on PS5. Need for Speed Unbound, one of 2022's most slept on titles, is now available as a part of EA Play. Recent PlayStation Plus title Meet Your Maker is getting a large free content update on June 27th that will add a new environment, a new guard, new traps, and new traps, among other updates. John Wick director Chad Stahelski said this week that the Ghost of Tsushima film is currently in a quote unquote heavy development. I can't fucking wait.
And Chad's been on a couple of podcasts this week, not ours, unfortunately, but I think he was on Rogan and another
Oh,
one that's
really?
pretty famous. So if you're interested, check that shit out because I'm sure he talks about it, or at the very least, he
Mm.
talks about John Wick. So I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly. Also, in a new video profile published this week, PlayStation Studio and PC Portmasters Nixes revealed that they are becoming more and more involved in creating remasters of PlayStation Studios games. But does that mean for PC only or perhaps for consoles? They were pretty vague about that. I'm hoping that means for consoles because I would love like a Resistance collection remaster. That'd be fucking dope. Also, Travis, Cricket 24, that's Cricket right there, has been delayed from June to October the 5th, sadly, on PS4 and PS5. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that Assassin's Creed Mirage's map will be comparable to the maps in Assassin's Creed Unity and Revelations, or around 2.4 square kilometers, which is tiny when compared to Odyssey's 94 square kilometers, which is unbelievable. That's without water, by the way. They took all the water out, just landmass, 94 square kilometers in Odyssey. It's
What the
ridiculous.
fuck's a kilometer?
I don't know. They didn't give us miles, so what?
Maybe freedom units.
Yeah, I want imperialistic freedom units. None of this metric horse shit.
Yeah,
Jesus.
fuck. I'm not paying any of your taxes. But I'll make it my own country and then immediately implement tax system anyway.
Uh-huh. Wow, who would ever do that? Also, 2D Soulsborne game Blasphemous 2, speaking of, is getting a PS4 version after the PS5 version launches on August 24th.
Do you think Blasphemous 3 will be in 3D?
Oh, I hope so.
4 will be in 4D?
Hope they can make the upgrade. Hopefully 4 will suck you off.
I can't wait.
Next nugget.
That's a yeah, okay. That's a cum-born game.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh man. Also, Travis, Madden 24, you might have heard of it, revealed the latest technology that'll be included in the PS5 version of the game when it releases later this year. It's called Sapien and is said to create more realistic animations for players thanks to a rebuilt skeletal system. And
Mhm.
you and I watched some film of it the
Mhm.
other day at launch.
Mhm.
It's hit or miss for me.
Right. I mean, is it hetero or Homo sapien? First question.
Yeah, did they get the right skeletal system? That's what we
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to
there's
know.
some stuff that looked like that. Some of the tackling looked nice, but it still was like it was weird. Like one
Yeah,
of the very first animations in the video, the guy's throwing the ball and the ball like clips through his hand, and like
yeah. Still can't figure that
I
out.
don't know, man. It's just weird. Their hips run funny. I don't know, dude. It's odd. It's like how can NCAA 14 have a better running mechanics than I just
Mm,
don't understand.
mm. Yeah, balls and hair clipping through is still the bane of video game existence. Hairy balls. Gotta watch out for those. Anyway, Xbox Game Studios chief Matt Booty said at the FTC hearing this week that the company has still not decided on whether or not to bring the Outer Worlds to PS5, which sounds like a load of horse shit. Sounds like something you'd say if you're trying to convince the FTC that there's a chance that you might not make that game exclusive, but maybe not.
Hasn't the time passed already?
What do you mean?
I just feel like it's too late in the game at this point.
Yeah, true. Like it's announced, they're making it. Like,
Yeah, it's just like we're too far down the road that it would be by the time it was functional enough for PlayStation, it would be out of the ether. Like it would just be over.
right. Yeah, exactly. Like it's definitely not coming at launch, but 2 years after it. But like you said, does anybody give a fuck? I don't know. Next nugget, website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Battlefield 2042, Dreams, Apex Legends, Horizon Forbidden West, Final Fantasy 16, Cyberpunk 2077, Hell Let Loose, Conan Exiles, PUBG, and Dead by Daylight. So if you've been looking for some fixes or content, check those out. Also, Embracer Group confirmed during their annual report that they paid $396 million for the
Hmm.
rights to The Lord of the Rings. So, a good amount of money.
Just
For,
just reminding us, hey, we're still not using it, but we spent 400 million.
yeah. Also, we're going to, we're going to lay off all these people and shit like we talked about last week. But we can spend
Do
400
you
mil
think
on The
that
Lord of the Rings.
maybe their $2 billion deal was for Lord of the Rings to get produced?
Yeah. Okay. We own it now. Now we got to pay somebody to make it. Yeah. Who knows? Also, Sony is working to improve its reprojection technology for PSVR2 games that are currently running at 60 frames per second, according to the developer of sci-fi action RP or action game, Hubris. So I don't know what reprojection is. I'm not going to pretend to know. I know it's supposed to maybe do something like make the game smoother because I think the sweet spot, like everybody says they want 60 frames on playing flat, but I think on VR you want really to be 120. Games that don't run natively at 120, they do this reprojection horseshit to make it look like 120, something like that. I don't fucking know.
Sounds like refried beans.
Yeah. Diablo 4 will require players to create a new character to play seasonal content, which is nothing new to veteran players, but is coming as somewhat of a shock to newcomers like myself. In fact, I deleted the game because, like, why the fuck would I want to do that? Like, I'm done with that game for now. It's a cool game, but I can't commit to grinding a character to a level 100, and then you're telling me I can't just have like a seasonal XP bar that just unlocks the shit for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not understanding, but whatever. Also, newly added PlayStation Plus premium game Killzone Liberation is free to claim on PS4 and PS5 for users who claim the game for free following the PlayStation Network hack in 2011. Who would have known? Who would have known that would still be paying dividends 12 years later?
Wow.
Yeah. Website Gamatsu reported that Genshin Impact's 3.8 update called Secret Summer Paradise will launch July the 5th. Former Funcom, Lockwood Publishing, and Bohemia Interactive leaders have established a new studio called Red Rover Interactive to quote unquote catapult the survival genre into a new direction. Sorry. Action RPG Evil Wizard is coming to PS4 and PS5 in the fourth quarter of this year. 2D roguelike Necrosmith is coming to PS5 on July 6th. Transformer Earthspark Expedition was announced for PS4 and PS5. It's releasing later this year. Action RPG Cry Machina will launch for PS4 and PS5 on October the 24th in North America, October 27th in Europe, and November 3rd in Oceania. Publisher Atari announced Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures Deluxe for PS4 and PS5, and it's releasing later this year. And I'm kind of keen on this potentially. We'll see.
Sounds cool. A lot of nostalgia there, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Square Enix confirmed Star Ocean: The Second Story R for PS4 and PS5. It's releasing November the 2nd. The Wonderful 101 remastered DLC called After School Hero has now been released as a standalone game on PS4 for $10. Headbangers Rhythm Royale will launch for PS5 on October the 31st, and I really cannot wait. This looks wonderful. They showed a gameplay trailer this week, and I'm in for sure. Action RPG Fate/Samurai Remnant will launch for PS5 on September the 29th from Koei Tecmo and Omega Force, team behind Dynasty Warriors. Tactical RPG Gloomhaven is making its way to PS4 and PS5 on September the 18th. Saturday morning cartoon style first person fantasy co op roguelite Myth Force will launch for PS4 and PS5 sometime this fall. And this actually looks pretty cool. Like, very cool art style. It's exactly what it says. Like a Saturday morning, like modern Scooby Doo, Hanna-Barbera looking art style. And looks cool. Yeah. Also, party action game Yuma Musume.
You amuse me.
Yuma Musume Pretty Derby Party Dash was announced for PS4, and it will launch next year worldwide. Thank God. Supernatural first-person shooter Trepang It 2. That sounds like the noise that something makes when you like shoot metal, like trepang.
Yes.
Anyway, it was announced to be coming to PS5 later this year, and I watched a little bit of the trailer. It's about as close as we've gotten to Fear, the Supernatural FPS from years ago. It's about as close as we've gotten to Fear since then, I would say. Also, party game Inspector Gadget Mad Time Party will launch for PS4 and PS5 on September the 14th. Arcade Racer NASCAR Arcade Rush, Travis, was announced for PS4 and PS5. It is launching later this year. Action RPG Solstice is now available on PS4 alongside a free content update for the PS5 version, and it's currently a part of the PlayStation Plus game catalog. Cyberpunk-style adventure game Eden Genesis was announced for PS4 and PS5, and it's releasing in 2024. And finally, Gematsu reported that open-world hack-and-slash RPG Hammerwatch 2, which is like a pixel art version of Diablo 4, will launch for PS4 and PS5 on August the 15th. And that is all for the news. I'm going to turn it over to Travis now for this week's new games. And it's a pretty lengthy list, although I'm not convinced all these actually came out.
On June 20th, we have Aliens Dark Descent, Crash Team Rumble, which I thought came out 2 years ago, Robolt, Rogue Legacy 2, The Last Hero of Nostalgia. On the 21st, we have Masternoid, New Lands 3 Paradise Island, Post Void, The Last Hero of Nostalgia, again, both days. VR Skater, X-Force Genesis. On the 22nd, we have Alice Sisters, Arcade Archives, Splatterhouse, Delivery Driver, The Simulation, which sounds miserable, Donuts in Space, Dr. Fetus's Mean Meat Machine.
Dr. Fetus's Beat My Meat Machine.
That's what I named my dick. Final Fantasy 16, which none of the employees asked for. Harmony, The Fall of Reverie, which I thought came out 2 years ago also. Hubris, Nova Lands. Scatfold Usurper. The Bookwalker, Thief of Tales. The Wonderful One, After School Hero. Tower Up. Tricks Magician. Valtherian Arc, Hero School Story 2. And on the 23rd, we have Sea Smash VRS, Cave Digger, Mirror 2 Console Edition, Nico Secret Homecoming Light, Scout, Fault, Usurper again,
Wow, they're getting bad at
and
this.
Sonic Origins Plus.
So I've been looking some of these up. Well, at least one of them. So that delivery driver game that you hate that intrigued me. It's the same guy who keeps making these games, and they're almost like I don't know. They just all look the same. Like the last one he did was a forklift driving simulator, and then now
Yeah,
we have delivery driver simulation. And anyway,
you get platinums.
yeah, there's a platinum. It's
That's
$20.
that's
It's
that's what he's
on.
doing, man.
Yep, it's $20.
Platinum farm. We should have done that. That'd have been awesome.
I
Platinum
know.
farming.
I know. Realistic driving, a well animated and detailed city, dynamic day and night cycle, realistic simulated driving. Explore the city and its
Nope.
outskirts on foot. Explore large interior spaces like a shopping mall.
It's a driving simulator. Why the fuck would I want to be on foot?
But you got to get out and deliver it. You got, the last mile. You got to take it to the fucking door and take a picture of it. Amazon.
I
Anyway,
guess.
what else
Oh,
we
it's
got here?
it's the simulation. That makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. Let's see here. Aliens: Dark Descent. I am currently reviewing that for GamingNexus.com on the PS5, so I'll have more to say about that. I think it's cool so far. I've only played the tutorial, and it's an XCOM style, tactical shooter. So there's that. Crash Team Rumble played the beta for that. It's fun if you have friends to play with you. It's like a 4v4 kind of like party game sort of thing. So it's neat. Rogue Legacy 2 is available on the PlayStation Plus game catalog. It's a pretty big one. People are it's getting really good reviews. Nova Lands just finished actually reviewing that. Gave it an 8 out of 10, and it's a pretty addictive like city builder supply chain management game, and it's good. It's cool. What else here? Is there anything else big that I'm missing? Lots of PSVR2 stuff coming out pretty regularly. Final Fantasy 16, of course, is the biggest release. People seem to mostly be loving that. There's a few naysayers out there, which I understand because, like I said last week, it put me to sleep. So, not for me. And anyway, that's all for the new games this week. And we'll start to wrap the show up here, like we always do, of course, by discussing what we've been playing. Travis, what do you got?
We've been doing the F1, so I have my own career with my own team that I started.
How dare you?
I think we're on the same race as we are in our co-op career. But I've been toying with the difficulty. I can't figure out what level to put it on. So like I started with whatever difficulty it's on.
Yeah.
And I won by like 10 or 15 seconds. And I was like, okay. So then I found a website where you put in your fastest lap and then you adjust, it tells you what difficulty to be on. So I've been kind of toying with it the last couple of races. And so today I put it up to like somewhere in the 60s and I won by 20 seconds. So I can't figure out if the difficulty's broken or if I'm just incrementally getting better at the same rate. And I don't know. I can't figure it out because I like,
Yeah.
in the one that I'm doing single player on, it's, the car is mid tier is what I picked. So I should be battling for points basically. And
Right.
I'm not. So I don't know what that's about. I haven't figured that out yet. Don't really know.
Sure.
Also, kind of don't really care because, in real life, Max Verstappen wins every race by 15 seconds. So maybe I'm just in this world, I'm Max Verstappen and it's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be so hard. It's impossible either because the point is to have fun. So
Sure.
it's to me at the end of the day. But I'm enjoying it a lot more this year than I did last year. I sent you a picture with of my car and then didn't even realize it, but there was a hole in my wing and I don't even know how I did it. And then when I was racing today, I ran over the rumble strips a few times.
Yeah.
Because I kind of missed the racing line because I pushed a little bit too hard. And like halfway through the race, they came over the radio and was like, "The underbody's damaged. You need to watch what you're doing," basically. And I was like, "That's dope." Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of cool, right? And
Yeah. That's cool.
Our co-op's been pretty fun. Like, I think the first race I literally was up by so much that I did a 360 on the straightaway and then still kept the lead. So that was pretty fun. Then the last race, I completely ran into the wall on the first lap because we turned damage off on the first lap because it's just annoying. And one of the Ferraris drove through me and it scared me, and then
Yeah,
I just turned into the wall.
it is scary for sure.
It's so unsettling. It's so weird. But anyway, yeah, that was fun, and I battled back and was trying to catch you, and then you took care of that yourself. So appreciate that. But we're having a good time with that. I think
Mhm.
it's still fun, and it's the handling model is a lot better, and all of it's a lot better. Like, if you go into off the track, all the stuff gets stuck to your tires like in real life, and the car doesn't snap oversteer anymore. And like, if you notice on some of those tracks that we've been on, like there's areas where you can hold it wide open through certain turns that you couldn't
Yeah.
do last year, which is more realistic to what the track's really like. And the only issue I have is the tire wear is a little goofy. Like, if you're on the harder tire, which should last the longest, towards the end of a stint, it's like you're on ice. But if you
Yeah.
are on softs or mediums, it's not like ice. It's still difficult to drive, but it's manageable. But on the hards, like, you can just forget it. It's like you can't do anything. So that's very strange. Logan Sargent is way too fast. I don't know what the hell that's about. I think there's a glitch in the game where, like, if a
Forgot about
driver's
that.
focus is really high, they're just really fast. So
Oh,
if you're
drivers have
doing,
focus?
yeah, it's like a talent thing. So
Huh.
if you're hiring a teammate and you play F1, hire somebody with high focus, they'll be fast. And then we played Crime Boss Rocky City.
Mhm.
Was fully expected. Everything I expected about it is true. Like, the acting is subpar, the writing is subpar, but I enjoy it.
Uh-huh.
If we made like a top 10 list for the year, it would be on it right now for me. Like, it's hilarious. Like, we've only had one game breaking glitch, which was last night
Oh,
where
yeah.
the hostage disappeared.
Mhm. Forgot about
But
that.
that's fine. The different characters are awesome. Like, they have different guns, different weapons, different they, carry more bags of loot, whatever. It's mechanically it works pretty well. The only issue I have is it took me a few times to learn that, like, I'd be trying to press square to steal loot, and I would just keep reloading my gun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a glitch, I think, but
That's a little bit, yeah. There's some quality of life things like that.
mhm.
You can't buy weapons. You have to back out to buy weapons. Like,
Yeah.
there's stupid shit like that. But
Oh, it's in need of a patch or 2, without a
yeah.
doubt.
But I like that if we replay a map, like,
Mhm.
the loot can move, the humans move.
Mhm.
Sometimes there's no way for you to get 3 stars on it, and it's yeah. So I enjoy it. It's just I don't know. It doesn't take itself too seriously, which is nice.
Yeah, to me, it's like the most, like, 6 or 7 out of 10 game I've ever
That you
played.
could have. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the most. Yeah, it really is the definition.
Yeah, but, like, not everything, I was thinking about it, not everything has to be a 9 or, an 8 or
No.
9 out of 10, right? Like, you need
Mm-mm.
some of that stuff that's in the middle. And when you think
Mm-hmm.
about it, we played, without a doubt, some shit growing up that was like, 4s, 5s, and 6s, and we fucking loved it. So,
Yeah,
I
it's just
say
about
that,
having fun.
yeah, it's about having fun. And yes, the fucking acting, I can't believe they wasted money paying all these motherfuckers to
Yeah,
just
but it's great though.
other
The
than,
idea
yeah,
that it fucking exists is great.
it is crazy that they were able to get all those people. I will give them credit for that. Unironically, Danny Glover gives the best performance of the whole game
It really does.
so
And his
far.
name's Gloves.
And his name's Gloves. And he unironically gives the best performance. The rest of these people, it's like they forgot how to fucking act, and or they were giving piss poor direction because they obviously did not record any of these lines together. It was all like in a fucking,
Oh yeah,
it
it's
was all
chopped.
like, yeah, it's all like in their fucking bedroom at their house, like they're recording a podcast. Like it doesn't, like the tone of replies and stuff doesn't make
Hmm.
sense. So,
And
but
Chuck Norris, they just got out of a coma to do
dude,
his.
Jesus Christ. If that's not Chuck Norris AI and really Chuck
Mhm.
Norris, then somebody needs to please check on Chuck Norris because he might be fucking dead by this point.
Mhm. Where is the gang leader now?
It's just like that. Oh no, you mean we're on duty? It's like,
For real.
the fuck? It's hilarious. Like, you can't help it.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know,
his
man.
little helper, the guy that did the voice for his
Oh
little
my
helper on the game,
god.
he fucking he's trying his balls off.
He's
He really
trying
is.
hard. Yeah, he's trying hard. But other than that, like the actual nuts and bolts, the gameplay itself is fun. Like, it's glitchy. It needs a patch, which they said they're working on. That's just, everything's broken nowadays. But the fact that this is, I'm pretty sure this developer's first game, and they're also I'm pretty sure an Eastern European team, like Swedish or some shit. Like the fact that they've even done what they have done is pretty impressive to me. And I think the gunplay is good. It
I do too.
has dual sense support. The guns feel good. The reloading feels good.
The throwing knives are fun.
I haven't done the throwing knife yet.
It's pretty satisfying.
I think it's exactly what I thought it was going to be, and which is why I enjoy. Like it's a higher budget Payday 2, right?
Yeah.
And if Payday 3 can be like this, but just more polished, better, I'm all for it. It's even it apes Payday 2 so much that even in the free play thing we were doing last night, the fucking jobs like rotate in and out, like disappear off the map, like just you have like 10 seconds to pick one before it disappears.
Yeah, just like Payday.
Just like Payday. So I actually think that if you have friends to play with, that it is a decent co-op heist game, and it's on sale for 20% off right now. Like I've spent 30 worse dollars before, without a doubt.
Yeah,
So,
especially you got that time you got hepatitis B.
Yeah, that time was rough, but I've definitely bought video games for $30 or more that I did not like nearly as much as this game. So yeah, F123, you played that as well. I'm mad because I was going to come in top 5 in the race that we did the other night, and then I forgot about the curve that I crashed in during practice and ran straight into it and got disqualified from the race, and that ruined that ended it for me on like lap 6 or 7. And the last thing I played was Nova Lands, as I mentioned, reviewed that. Like I said, it's a city building, island management, like supply chain management thing. So if it's actually, if that sort of thing sounds interesting, but you've always been like intimidated by those sorts of games, I think this is a pretty good like gateway, like foot in the door type of game, because it's about as simple as it's going to get in terms of being able to pick up and play, but it's very addictive. So it's cool. Like I said, gave it an 8 out of 10, and that's all for me.
Hey, did you hear about the those guys that died in the submarine?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, did you hear did you hear why they were going down to the bottom?
No, why?
Apparently some sharks door dashed Five Guys.
Oh my god. Ooh, that's good. Yeah, well, they got it delivered, and they got it, they got delivered as a vapor, as a soup.
Stay greasy.
Yeah. I love that they went down there with a fucking GameCube controller or whatever, Logitech controller. Like, just it's a disaster all the way around.
I hope that picture I sent you was real, that it was the only thing that survived, because that's fucking amazing.
Yeah. Let's be real. That would not have happened if they had used a DualSense. But what are you going to do?
I hope not.
Anyway, that's it for me. That's it for Travis. That's it for us. And if you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe so that we can get delivered to you every Monday on your podcast service or YouTube. And
that's a debris-filled controller.
Do what?
Instead of a star-filled controller, it's a debris-filled controller.
Man, the internet has no chill. I mean, we don't take anything seriously, like we were saying, but we'd also appreciate it if you would leave us a rating, review, a like, comment, thumbs up, all that stuff. Very helpful. We'd much appreciate you sharing us with a friend or loved one who you think might enjoy getting the week's PlayStation news in less than 90 minutes. Don't forget to find us also on social media, Twitter at the DualSense Pod, Instagram, Facebook. Our website is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. We'd love to hear from you and chat PlayStation. Thank you for listening. We'll get out of here now. Have a great week, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye-bye, and don't go submarining.